It is an impossibility for the mind to reach God. Let that sentence do its holy work in you. Let it upset the furniture of your long-cherished habits. I do not say it to insult the mind. The mind has its place for balancing a checkbook, for tying a shoe. But for God, no. For spirit, no. For life everlasting, no. Did you ever stop to think of that? That the very instrument on which you have been leaning cannot cross the threshold into the sanctuary. The mind is an effect. God is cause. How can the effect run backward and produce its source? It cannot. Be still and know that I am God. Not think more cleverly and know. Not arrange better words and know. Be still. If you will take this as the shock that opens the door, then the hinge is already turning. When human effort stops, divine activity begins. Cause and effect, not mystery. I can of my own self do nothing, said the Master. The Father within me, he doeth the works. There is your law. There is your arithmetic. When the personal effort ceases, the Father within moves into expression. When the pushing ends, grace begins. This is not a romance. It is spiritual law. As long as you are pushing, you are announcing yourself as cause. As long as you are arranging, outlining, persuading, you are keeping the channel clogged with yourself. And then you wonder why so much effort produces so slight a harvest. When ye pray, use not vain repetition. Why? Because you are trying to move God with words, when in truth prayer is that stillness in which God moves you. Stop pushing. Empty, then watch God act. That is the orienting hook of this entire way. You may say, but what shall I think? What shall I say? How shall I pray? And I tell you, you have been doing that long enough. You have been bringing your bright ideas to an infinite wisdom, your shopping list to a Father who has already said, Son, all that I have is thine. Do you believe that? Then why do you come with petitions? Please do not pray for houses or automobiles or gasoline. That is too late. The only prayer that touches heaven is the prayer in which earth ceases to talk. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Not the Boy Scout oath, not a torrent of promises you know you cannot keep. Speak, Lord. That is all. Then be quiet. The aim is not to fix life with thoughts. Do not make a tool belt out of affirmations and call it prayer. Anything that is thought is an effect. How shall you pack God power into a thought and then wield it like a hammer? There is no power but the one. Prayer is not man's word. It's God's word, God uttering himself as peace, as guidance, as life lived through you. Our work here is not a crusade to get better matter. Our aim is God awareness. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not as the world giveth. Mark that. The world gives by accumulation and anxiety. The Christ gives by an inner stillness that outlives the storm. Now, I know what rises up. The habit of years will not collapse because I have said, stop. The mouth wants to run. The mind wants to plead, to bargain, to explain to God what God does not yet understand. Oh, how we love to enlighten the infinite. I am scared pink of classes when they come with outlines. It means we will spend our first hour sweeping the floor of the temple before we can enter. But hear me tenderly. You are of those few who can achieve it. Do not measure yourself by your yesterday. Do not remember your 1,000 prayers that were really monologues. This is a new hour. You can lay down the pushing. You can taste emptiness and discover it is not a void but a door. What is that door? It is the simple, holy absence of personal will. Nevertheless, Father, not my will, thy will be done in me. Not my plan, not my timing, not my conclusion about what this situation must become. The hinge of the door is surrender, and the open swing is receptivity. In that stillness, something begins to flow, unseen, untouchable, unmistakable. You will not always feel it. Do not make sensation your idol. You will not always hear words. Do not make messages your idol. Sometimes there is only a wide, effortless quiet in which no need remains and no question survives. That is prayer. That is God awareness, dawning in the soul. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. To begin, you need not an hour. Take 30 seconds. Take one honest breath in which you truly stop pushing. Close your eyes if you like. Drop the body. Drop the mind. Drop the outcome. Let the heart speak one sentence, thy grace is my sufficiency. Then let even that fall away. Be still. Be empty. If a thought comes, recognize it as a beggar at the gate and let it pass. If a fear knocks, place it into the emptiness and do not pick it up again. In that poised silence, you are no longer trying to reach God by Maya. You are letting the Father reach himself as you. That is the miracle without fireworks, the answer without argument. The Father within doeth the works. Do not ask me what will happen, not as the world giveth. The first fruit is peace. A hush where noise had been. A soft light on the face of a problem that no longer frightens you. The outer may shift later or at once or not at all in any way you can photograph, but the inner kingdom has broken through, and where the kingdom is, the needs of that moment are fed from within. Take no thought for your life, the Master said. Take no thought. Not because life is unworthy, but because thought is not cause. Life is cause. God is cause. Your part is to clear the channel. Come as an empty vessel and let God fill that vessel. I tell you again so you will remember it in the middle of your day. Stop pushing. Empty, then watch God act. The law works quietly. If you insist on blowing your trumpets, you will not hear the still small voice. If you insist on lighting your own candles, you will miss the sunrise. But if you will make of your prayer an emptiness of self, a lowering of your little flag, then the great wind moves. And you will say with the Master, not as a phrase, but as a realization, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Take courage. You are of those few who can achieve it. You are not asked to climb a mountain. You are asked to lay down your pack. You are not asked to add, but to subtract. You are not asked to become worthy. You are asked to become still. The shock has been given. Let it be the mercy that saves you from more years of mental labor. Cease and know. Cease and see. Cease and live. And then we will go on together into a way of prayer that is God's own activity in you, through you, as you, where the Father within does the works. Now, if mind cannot reach God, what then is prayer? Hear it plainly and do not dress it up. Prayer is not man's word, it's God's word. That is the core revelation. Until this shifts in you from theory to practice, you will exhaust yourself at the gates of heaven while the door stands open behind you. Prayer is not what you say. Prayer is not what you think. Prayer is the dawning, the inflowing, the self-revealing of God as awareness in you. We are not the authors of it. We are the hearers. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. That is prayer. When you sit down to meditation, mark your intention so clearly that even your old habits can hear it. I am not coming to enlighten God. God is already light, and in him is no darkness at all. I am not coming to inform the infinite about a shortage in my pantry or a twinge in my ankle or the neighbor's opinion of me. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. If the Father already knows, whom are you trying to convince? Yourself. And that is not prayer. That is a monologue with your worry. The Master said, when ye pray, use not vain repetitions as the heathen do, for they think they shall be heard for their much speaking. Did you ever stop to think what that implies about our stacks of words? Our Boy Scout oaths are carefully memorized pleadings. It means they cannot move God. It means that words arranged like bricks do not build the temple. It means that more syllables do not equal more spirit. Do not be angry with me for tearing down a beloved habit. Rejoice that you can lay down a burden that never worked. Vain repetition is trying to get the radio to broadcast by shaking the cabinet. The music is already in the air. Tune, listen, receive. Now let me relieve you with a touch of humor so the correction can land gently. Please don't pray for horses. It's too late for that. Don't pray for gasoline. Go to a filling station. Don't pray for houses or automobiles. Don't turn God into a department store clerk with a heavenly clipboard. That is an insult to your own inheritance. Son, all that I have is thine. If all that I have is thine, why are you itemizing? Why are you haggling over a window treatment when the whole house, indeed the kingdom, is already yours in spirit? We do not come to get, we come to be. We do not come to beg, we come to behold. Prayer, then, is listening receptivity. It is the moment you stop telling, stop selling, stop persuading, and you give God the microphone. Be still and know that I am God. Not be noisy, not be clever, be still. This does not require you to stifle every thought like a schoolmaster with a ruler. It asks only that you refuse to crown your thought as king. Let the thought come. Let it go. Return to the inner posture. Speak, Lord. Let the heart whisper once, thy grace is my sufficiency, and then be quiet enough to let grace be grace. Do not sit inventing messages and calling them guidance. Do not sit arranging outcomes and calling it faith. Let there be space in you for the word that was in the beginning, that is ever with God, that is God, to announce itself as peace, as light, as a knowing without argument. I must say this to you as your teacher in this hour, lest you look to me for what I do not possess. I cannot bring you things. I have no storeroom of blessings to hand out. I can of my own self do nothing. It is the Father within me that doeth the works. If you ask me for help, I will go to God in prayer. But hear what that means in this way. I will not go to advise the Almighty on your case, nor to outline the sequence by which your affairs should turn. I will go in and be still until the word comes. When it comes, even if it comes as a hush without syllable, the work is accomplished not by me, not by you, but by the presence that fulfills. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. And those words, when they are God's, carry their own fulfillment within them. Do you see why we dare not substitute our chatter for that? Anything that is written or spoken by you or me is an effect. How can you pack God power into an effect and then wield it like a tool? There is no power but the one. So the moment you try to use words to cause God, you have already inverted the universe and sentenced yourself to frustration. Let words be signposts, not engines. Use them sparingly to declare your openness. Father, here am I. Be thou the life of my seeing. Then let them rest and let the cause cause. In time, you will discover that the surest sign you have entered prayer is that you are no longer producing anything. You are being produced. But how do I begin, you say? Begin by ceasing. Sit down, close the door of the senses, enter into thy closet, and set aside deliberately the impulse to inform. If the mouth starts to move, smile and close it again. If the mind begins to compose, bow inwardly and say, not my will but thine be done. Then wait. Wait without sulking, without timing God, without peeking to see if the outer has already rearranged itself. Wait as a window waits for the dawn, without effort, without outline, without agenda. The light needs no coaxing. It needs only access. As you practice this, you will discover that God's word rarely arrives in paragraphs. It arrives as a felt peace. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. The world gives with packages and return policies. The Spirit gives with a quiet that dissolves fear at its root. Sometimes there will come a phrase that you did not manufacture and cannot improve upon. Treasure it, not as a charm, but as a clue to your center. Often there will be only stillness. Do not call it empty, call it full. For in that stillness the Father is speaking himself as the life of your life. Will you consent to this? Will you lay down the ancient habit of petition and dare to be a listener? You are of those few who can achieve it. Replace the lists with a single availability. Trade your negotiations for the prayer that prays itself, and watch quietly, without trumpet, how the Father within does the works. Do not pray for horses. Do not pray for gasoline. Do not pray for houses or automobiles. Pray by not praying for anything at all. Pray by letting God be God. Speak, Lord. Thy servant heareth. Then be still and know. Now we must make the axis of this way unambiguous, because if the axis is off by a degree, the circle of your life will miss its center by miles. Only God is cause. Anything that is written or spoken is an effect. Anything that is thought is an effect. Anything that is pictured, imagined, or arranged in the mind is an effect. How can you get God power into an effect? You cannot. Did you ever stop to think of that? You cannot take a shadow and use it to move the body that casts it. You cannot take a dial and claim it creates the broadcast. There is no power but the one. There is no power but of God. That is not preacher's flourish. That is law. Now I know how the habit works. We fall in love with the letters. We collect phrases. We stack affirmations. We recite until the tongue is tired and the heart is numb. And then we wonder why we have so little harvest for so much speech. Hear Paul whisper into this moment, the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. The letter words, syllables, printed ink cannot cause. The Spirit alone is cause. The Master said it even more bluntly. It is the Spirit that quickeneth. The flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life. When God utters God, life appears. When we manipulate words to get God, we are polishing brass while the ship sails without us. I must take a step that will feel like sacrilege to some, but it is mercy. Do not trust techniques. Do not trust formulas. Do not trust the Boy Scout oath dressed up in metaphysical language. No affirmation, no method, no schedule of breaths, no vision board can move God. God moves as God, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. All the might of your mental muscle does not make the wind blow. All the power of your pattern phrasing does not generate life. At best, a practice can quiet the noise long enough for you to notice what was already present. At best, a form can say to the soul, sit down, be still, but the sitting is not cause. The stillness is not a lever. Only God is cause. Let me give you a picture so the mind can relax its grip. The thermometer measures. It does not make weather. Thoughts, words, and techniques are thermometers. They can register peace when peace is present. They cannot manufacture it. The music is already in the air. You tune. You do not produce the symphony by carving an extra notch into the dial. Do not shake the cabinet and call it prayer. Tune to the living cause within. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. That word is not your syllable making. It is God's self-announcement. When it speaks, it fulfills itself. I had a dear student years ago, let us call her Ruth, who carried a tiny wooden box of cards bound with a violet ribbon. On each card, an affirmation. At the first sign of trouble, out came the box, the ribbon, the incantation. One day she came to me worn out, eyes like a lamp with no oil. I have said them all, she whispered, and the mountain has not moved. How could it? I asked her. You have been instructing the mountain with echoes. Sit down and let the one who lifts up valleys and brings down hills speak for himself. She wept, she sat, we waited, nothing was said. And in that unsaid, the fear that had made a mountain dissolved, that was not technique, that was cause. Do you see the mercy in this? If words, thoughts, and techniques are effects, then you are relieved of the torturer's bench on which you have been stretching yourself to say the right phrase at the right time, in the right order, with the right intensity, to pry a blessing out of God. You are not a locksmith, you are a listener. Take no thought for your life, said the Master. He did not advise indolence, he removed the idol. Thought is not cause, God is cause. When you stop trying to cause with effects, grace can be grace. The Father within doeth the works. Now, I am not forbidding you a holy phrase. Phrases can be doors you open, not engines you rev. Let's speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Mark your consent. Let thy grace as my sufficiency place the crown where it belongs. Then, for the love of God and your own sanity, let the phrase fall away into the silence where the Spirit moves on the face of the waters. Do not clutch the handle after the door has opened. Enter. Be still. If you catch yourself using words like chisels, stop. Smile inwardly. Say, Father, I lay down effects. Be thou the cause in me. And wait as a window waits for the dawn, without outline, without pressure, without stopwatch. You can paste 1,000 pictures to a vision board and never touch the principle. Or you can close your eyes for 30 honest seconds, abstain from causing, and the kingdom rises like yeast through dough. Which is more trustworthy? The yeast, the life within. For it is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Not your will arranged into formulas, but his will finding free course when you do not congest the way with your schemes. And when that life moves, outcomes take their rightful seat not as trophies for your technique, but as the natural fruit of a presence that forever fulfills itself. So we establish this once and for all. Shift all power back to God. Cease trusting effects to produce the cause. Retire your little hammers and blueprints. We will not insult the infinite by bringing our tiny tools to build a universe. We will enter the closet, shut the door of mental engineering, and rest in the living, because that says, let there be, and it is so. Then, without trumpet and without strain, you will find that peace arrives, guidance arrives, provision arrives, not as the world giveth, not on the timetable of your devices, but as the effortless flow of a Father who has already whispered, Son, all that I have is thine. Now let us take this truth and seat it where it must sit, at the center of your identity. You are not the source. You have never been the source. I can of my own self do nothing, said the Master. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Make that your confession until the marrow knows it. Not as a slogan, not as a clever phrase, as the structural timber of your consciousness. I can of my own self do nothing. It is the Father within me, the life of God, the breath of Spirit that doeth the works. When you accept that, you do not become less. You become free, free of pressure, free of performance, free of the inner foreman who keeps shouting, produce, produce. A window is not ashamed because it does not manufacture light. A flute is not humiliated because it does not create breath. A branch is not inferior because it does not originate sap. I am the vine, ye are the branches. The only shame would be to pretend otherwise and block the flow. Come as an empty vessel and let God fill that vessel. That is not poetry. That is the way the kingdom has always operated. Empty is not blank despair. Empty is availability. Empty is the open cup, not the closed fist. Empty is the clean channel through which living water runs of its own accord. Do you see? You are a transparency for God. You are the place where God shows himself if you will stop trying to show yourself. As long as you style yourself the supplier, you will move from shortage to stress and back again. When you accept your role as channel, the strain falls off because you are no longer attempting the impossible to be God to your life. Not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Let us be practical for a moment, not because technique has power, but because a yielded posture helps you stop being noisy long enough to notice presence. Sit. Let the body sit you, not you sitting the body. Loosen the brow. You have been frowning at God as if the infinite were a math problem. Unknit the mind's forehead. Let the breath settle of its own accord. Do not tug it like a leash. Soften the chest. Let the ribs cease their vigilant guarding. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. The tongue has been trying to save you with syllables. Rest the hands. Open wherever they fall. Lower the shoulders from their posts. Watchmen are not needed on a wall that the Lord himself is. And inside, take off your shoes. The felt ownership of your life for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Now, in that posture, do not begin to perform. Consent. Whisper once if you must. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then let the whisper die into listening. If the old compulsion to supply rises up, what shall I fix? What shall I decide? What shall I make happen? Answer it with the law. I can of my own self do nothing. Not as a defeat, but as the opening of the channel. Then, without outline and without stopwatch, be empty. That emptiness is not vacancy. It is expectancy without object. It is the holy pause in which the Father within announces himself as the life of your life. I must tell you candidly, so you do not burden me with expectations. I cannot meet. I'm scared pink of the class when it comes looking to me for supply or healing or answers, as if I kept them in a drawer. I have nothing. I am nothing of myself. There is no personal power here. If you feel something in these meetings, do not attribute it to a man. Attribute it to the degree of emptiness to which we all consent. The Father within doeth the works. If you ask me for help, I will not become a supplier. I will go into the quiet and be a channel, and if the word comes, the word will fulfill itself. If it does not come, I shall not manufacture it. I cannot make wind. I can only open the window. This is your identity, too. You are not the supplier in your home, your office, your art. You are not the fountain. You are the clearing through which the fountain rises. All the burden phrases, provider, fixer, hero, let them go. Take the lighter name. Son, daughter, heir. Son, all that I have is thine. Do you hear it? Not all that you can pry from me with prayer techniques. Not all that you can outline with midnight plans. All that I have is thine by inheritance, by grace, by nature. Your task is not acquisition, it is transparency. Your prayer is not production, it is permission. So when you sit, take on this inner liturgy, not as magic, but as consent. Father, be thou the life of my seeing, be thou the breath of my speaking, be thou the wisdom of my choices. Nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done in me. Then let the sentences fall away and give God room to be God. If a pressure thought knocks, hurry, decide, perform, answer gently, peace, be still. If an anxious schedule jangles your nerves, remind yourself, the Father within doeth the works. And then choose emptiness again. Stop. Empty. Watch. Did you think emptiness would cost you your effectiveness? It will cost you only your ineffectiveness. It will strip from you the frantic attempts that never bore fruit. It will leave you with a poise that moves from center, not from compulsion. You will discover that stillness is not apathy, it is authority. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The channel does not fight to be a channel, it simply is what it is, and life uses it. The window does not wrestle the sun into the room, it opens, and light proves itself. And if in that quiet a phrase should arise unbidden, my peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, treasure it only as the fragrance of presence, not as a lever. Often there will be only the hush, a felt sense that no one is missing and nothing is lacking. Do not rush out from that to go make demonstrations. Abide until the inner motion moves you, and then move with it lightly, the way a leaf consents to the current. When you re-enter the day, do so as a channel. Don't strap the universe to your back. Don't posture as source. Let grace precede you. Let grace interpret you. Let grace perform the works. Come, then, as an empty vessel, and let God fill that vessel. Make your life a transparency, not a billboard. Make your prayer a listening, not a listing. Say with the Master, till it is true from your roots to your fingertips, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. And rest, for when the vessel is empty of self, the river finds it. When the river finds it, the work is done not by you, but through you, as you, in the one who is forever cause. Abandon hope, all ye that enter an infinite way, class. Do not gasp. Receive it as surgery, not cruelty. I do not mean abandon the hope that is God. I mean abandon the human hope that is a plan dressed up as prayer, a bargain disguised as faith. Hope, as the world uses it, is outlining. It says, if I do this, God will give me that. No, that is the old commerce. That is the inner pushing that has bruised your ribs and left your nights noisy. We are finished with it. Take no thought for your life, said the Master. Not because life is trivial, but because God is cause, and cause does not respond to your blueprints. Cause is the blueprint of itself. Drop the outline. Drop it like a hot coal. Don't pray for gasoline. Go to a filling station. Don't pray for houses or automobiles. Do not come to the infinite with shopping lists and then call it spirituality. Please don't pray for horses. If you need a horse, you will know what to do without informing the Almighty about saddles and oats. The very act of itemizing betrays your royalty. Son, all that I have is thine. If all is thine, why haggle for trinkets? If the kingdom is present, why scratch for coins under the cushion of consciousness? Be ashamed, not of need, but of the thought that God must be coaxed into being God. Some years back, a letter reached me, blessed earnestness on lined paper, asking that prayer secure $75 a week, a small home, a certain make of car, and good neighbors who would not play the radio after 9. Do you see the comedy in it? Not the soul, which I honor, but the outline. Tell me, how shall I go to God and say, Father, here is the plan. Please sign below, lest you stumble. Where that dear one stumbled, hear me. I cannot do it. I will not do it. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within doeth the works. If you bring me outlines, I will spread them before the silence, and then let the silence consume them. If you bring me availability, we can pray. Renunciation is not a mood. It is a vow. Nevertheless, Father, not my will, thy will be done in me. Do not whisper it as poetry. Seed it as law. Not my will is the death of the inner pusher, the voice that calculates, pressures, bargains, threatens, Thy will be done in me is the birth of peace, because in that will there is no contest. There is no rival. There is only the one will being what it is. It is God which worketh in you both to will and to do of his good pleasure. Consent to that, and the clenched fist of your hope unclenches of itself. Before you vow, cleanse the altar. If thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there rememberest that thy brother hath aught against thee, first be reconciled to thy brother, and then come and offer thy gift. Do you see? Resentment clouds the vessel. Self-blame clouds it too. Let us do a forgiveness sweep, not as technique, but as housekeeping love. Sit quietly now and inwardly speak. Father, I forgive. I forgive every face that rises. I forgive the loud wrongs and the quiet omissions. I forgive what I understood and what I never will. I forgive debts, money debts, love debts, apologies unpaid. I let them go. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. As I forgive, you forgive through me, and Father, I forgive myself. For ignorance, for fear, for the times I made effects into gods, I lay down self-accusation. It never saved me. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. If I have blamed you for my pain, I ask to see rightly. If I have chained another with judgment, I unlock them now. They are free. I am free. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And if there is any corner of the mind still tight with anger, I do not force it open. I hold it in your light and wait. Your light knows how to melt ice. Now the vessel stands clearer. Not perfect, clearer. Let the vow take its seat. Nevertheless, Father, not my will, thy will be done in me. Say it once and then keep silent long enough for the will of God to be will in you. Do not aim. Replace aiming with availability. No lists, no pressure, a yielded heart. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Let it be that simple. If you must use words to steady the mind, let them be royal and spare. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then let the words fall like scaffolding taken down when the building stands by itself. You will find the itch to outline returns like an old habit reaching for its hat. It will whisper, but surely God wants me well, wants me safe, wants me prosperous, so why not specify the root? Because the root is the idol. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Paths, plural. Not one path you can sketch at midnight. When you abandon hope as outline, you are not falling into emptiness. You are falling into the living will of God, which is never against you, because it is your very life. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. The world gives by manipulating matter, the Spirit gives by revealing God. Aim at matter, and you may collect a few polished stones. Aim at God awareness, and you receive the river that bears all stones where they belong. Let us make a quiet compact between us. The next time you catch yourself bargaining, if I meditate 30 minutes, then surely stop mid-bargain. Smile as if a child had offered you a toy checkbook to pay the mortgage. Lay it down. Return to the vow. Nevertheless, not my will. Return to the listening. Speak, Lord. Return to the identity. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. And wait, not sullenly, not timing God, but like a window consenting to light. No hurry, no push, only presence being present. You are of those few who can achieve this renunciation because you have suffered enough from the alternative to be ready. Give up the hope that is agenda, and you will discover the hope that is a name. Give up the outline, and you will watch outcomes take their rightful seat not as trophies for your will, but as the quiet fruit of a will that is love itself, inner pushing ends where thy will begins. And there In that beginning, all things are made new. Behold, I make all things new, not as the world giveth, as God is. Let us make it simple now, and holy, and without strain. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, not a room with walls, but that quiet within the quiet where the world does not intrude. Do not announce yourself. Do not prepare a speech. Remember what we have seen. Anything written or spoken is an effect. We will use a word or two to open the door, then we will let the door swing on its hinges and disappear into the room itself. Words begin the turning, silence does the prayer. Sit as you are. You need no candles, no postures, unless a posture helps the body to stop barking at the gate. Loosen the brow. You have been thinking at God. Release the jaw. You have been arguing with yesterday. Let the hands rest open, unarmed, ungrasping. If you like, feel the feet upon the ground and remember the old instruction. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for the place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Shoes are ownership. Put them off in the heart. You own nothing here. You are owned by love. Now, with all the gentleness of a leaf consenting to fall, give the entrance line once, only once, or twice, if the mind trembles and mean it. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then be quiet. Do not repeat it to club the mind. Do not polish it as if shine gives it power. It is a key. It is not a generator. Having turned the key, do not keep turning. Be still and know that I am God. If a centering phrase will help your descent, offer it like a bow, not a bargain. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Let it crown the moment, and then let it fall off your head and shatter on the floor of silence. Do not gather the shards. Leave them. We are here for grace itself, not for the echo of its name. Now, for 30 on a second, 60, if the Spirit grants it, utter stillness. No asking, no imaging, no mental embroidery. Do not arrange a future. Do not replay an injury. Do not even attempt to feel spiritual. If a phrase rises, I can of my own self do nothing, let it serve only to release you deeper from yourself into the Father within who doeth the works, and then let even that release go. If a scrap of Scripture floats by, in quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. Take it as weather passing across a vast sky. Do not chase a cloud. Sky does not chase. Sky receives. You will notice the old habit creeping in with clever disguises. It will say, perhaps I should visualize light. Perhaps I should send love too. Perhaps I should repeat until I feel. No. This is that moment in which you trust God to be God. Use not vain repetitions. The Master warned, not because words are evil, but because they are empty when used to replace presence. For these few heartbeats, let there be no carpentry, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Consent to Spirit by not attempting to produce it. Now we make our consent explicit, not as further speech, but as the surrender that speech points to. Inwardly, once, with reverence, and with no embroidery, I will make of my prayer an emptiness of myself. Nevertheless, Father, not my will, thy will be done in me. Then stop again. Let the sentence dissolve back into the silence that sent it. This is not resignation. This is royal yielding. This is the branch ceasing to impersonate the vine and feeling sap be sap. Set no trap for experiences. Do not wait for a light behind your eyes, a warmth in your hands, a word to the ear. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, not as spectacle, but as presence that needs no preface. If there is a felt peace, receive it simply. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. If there is no felt peace, only the absence of push, do not downgrade the holy. The absence of push is the presence removing you from the throne. If an anxiety taps, do not debate it. Let the mind say once, like a doorkeeper who knows his post. Peace, be still, and return to the listening. If guilt files a brief, do not argue law. Breathe once the mercy. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more, and sink again into the quiet where condemnation cannot survive. If a name arises, a friend, an enemy, a nation, do not outline their healing. Hold them in the same light holding you, without petition, without plan. The Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. Trust that more than your imagination of help. Stay as long as you can without effort and not one heartbeat longer. We are not timing God, and we are not timing ourselves. When you sense the little human will beginning to fidget for a verdict, that is your bell. Conclude without grasping. No report, no grade. No, that was deep or that was dry. Dry and deep are measurements of effect. Cause has no report card. Instead, let gratitude rise quiet, not emotional display, and let it be unnamed. Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, not because you felt a current, but because God is faithful to God. Release now, not out of presence, but out of the posture of formal sitting. Rise gently. Do not bolt for the day as if a whistle blew. Carry nothing away but emptiness. Do not decide what this prayer accomplished. Do not look back to see if footprints of peace are visible. Remember Lot's wife. Looking back fixes the past and salts it. We are not embalming moments. We are allowing life to be life through us. The window does not keep a ledger of lumens. It opens and trusts the sun. If you are tempted, as many are, to make of this a schedule heavy with rules, smile and return to the essence. Words begin the turning. Silence does the prayer. A single honest minute of yielded receptivity is of more weight than an hour of mental hammering. Even a breath-length stop, empty, watch, has power, not because it is a technique, but because it steps you out of causation and into consent. Practice as often as love invites, morning or noon or night, but never under the lash. The lash belongs to Egypt. We have crossed the sea. Before you go, seal it this way. Place, if you wish, the hand lightly upon the heart, not as charm, as reminder, and whisper once, "Be thou in me what thou art." Then do not wait to feel it. Walk on in the unforced rhythm of grace. Seek first God awareness, and let all else find its order without your pushing. And if before your next sitting the old habit returns with its blueprints, remember the entrance line and return to the hush. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then be quiet and let God be cause. Now we take this from the chair into the street. Do not imagine that prayer ends when you rise. Prayer is not a time, it is a stance. The closet is portable. The stillness is wearable. Pray without ceasing is not chatter. It is receptivity in motion. So here is the way, simple enough for a child and royal enough for a king. Stop. Empty. Watch. 3 beats, 3 breaths. Not as technique with power in it, anything written or spoken is an effect, but as the consent that removes you from the wheel of pushing and returns you to cause. At thresholds, pause. Before you dial, before you open the inbox, before you answer the knock, before you sign the paper, send the message. Walk into the room, 30 honest seconds. It will feel like a lifetime to the inner foreman. Let it be still and know that I am God. In that still hush, do nothing except relinquish your imagined causation. Stop the inner push, drop the shoulders of the mind, empty the vessel once inwardly. I can of my own self do nothing. Father, be thou the doer. Then watch not with a gaze of strain, but with the quiet expectancy that knows. I will go before thee and make the crooked places straight. Grace precedes you when you stop trying to arrive first, then move. Do not add a mental booster shot to the grace that has gone ahead. Non-interference is reverence. Refrain from rehearsing lines in your head as if the Spirit needed a prompter. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. Go into the call without bracing. Open the email without fortifying yourself with judgments. Step into the meeting without wearing armor you forged at midnight. Let grace interpret you before you are seen. Let grace prepare the other heart before you speak. Let grace frame the very subject before it arises. You will be astonished how often the problem evaporates unaddressed because the Father within has done the works while you were busy not doing them. This is not passivity. It is poised readiness. Hands ready, heart surrendered. The vine is not inert. It is life. When the word comes, move. When the nudge says, speak now, speak. When it says, be silent, be silent. When it says, turn left, do not beautify the right. Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. Stretch forth thy hand. Rise, take up thy bed, and walk. These are all acts that flowed from cause, not from human engines straining at the bit. Action does not disappear in receptive prayer. Strain disappears. The doing is done through you. In these 30-second obediences, watch the law reveal itself. The effects follow. Cause when cause is permitted to be cause. An email that would have kindled a riptide becomes a small wave that ripples and is gone. A conversation that had every ingredient for contention opens like a lily, each petal unfurling in its own time, and you find words you did not pack in your satchel, or you find no words at all, and the silence says what must be said. Sometimes the grace you let go before you removes the need for the act itself. You do not make the call because unaccountably it is no longer required. Do not run after it and resurrect a task that grace has already performed. Let the dead bury their dead. Move with the living will as it moves. Non-interference continues after the act. When you step out of the room, do not crane your neck to grade the harvest. Let not your left hand know what your right hand doeth. No report, no verdict. The instant you affix the label, good call, bad call, you have slipped back into the court where effects are God's. Leave it. The Father within knows his own handiwork. Commit thy way unto the Lord, trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Bringing to pass is not your department. To help the human sense relearn where trust belongs, keep a quiet log, a little book that is no trumpet, not a ledger to score yourself, not a scrapbook of trophies, just stones of remembrance. Date, threshold, the simple consent. Stop, empty, watch, and the fruit that arose without strain. Read it when the foreman returns with his stopwatch and blueprints. Let those entries teach you that where you ceased, God commenced. Over time, you will see a pattern not of your cleverness, but of grace's character, gentle, exact, unhurried, astonishingly sufficient. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Make this rhythm the bell of your day. Crossing a doorway, stop, empty, watch. Hand on the steering wheel, stop, empty, watch. Finger on the send button, stop, empty, watch. Head bending to pray for another, stop. Empty, watch, no magic, no bargaining, only the royal habit of acknowledging the one cause and refusing to impersonate it. You are training the mind to step aside so the Father within may do the works. And he will. He does. He is. Do you see how merciful this is? You have been trying to be first on the field, first with the answer, first with the remedy. Lay that burden down. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. The world's pace is push. The Spirit's pace is proceed after grace. In real time, not years from now, not after 10 retreats when you stop pushing, grace precedes you and performs the works. Say with the Master as you move, I can of my own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. Then watch not to catch him at it, but to live in the light. He leaves as he goes before you. Let us be very honest now and kind. The moment you choose receptivity, the old foreman returns in a clean shirt, clipboard in hand. He no longer shouts, he whispers. We must learn his new disguises, because effort has learned to speak devotional words. It is a mercy to see it. Watch and pray, said the Master, that ye enter not into temptation. The temptation is not wine or cigarettes. It is personal causation, doing God's work for him. Here is the first red flag, bargaining prayers. Father, I will give you 20 minutes this morning if you will see me through this interview. Do you hear the trade in it? If you will only do this one thing, I promise. No, let your prayer be yea to God, not yea to a deal. Take no thought is not a slogan, it is a disarmament. The second red flag, rehearsed petitions dressed as reverence, delivered in polished cadences, as if heaven were a court and you had retained an excellent attorney. Please do not adopt the Boy Scout oath inside your closet. Use not vain repetitions, the Master said, not because a phrase is evil, but because repetition used as leverage is heathenism with a robe on. A third sign, outcome urgency. The clock glances, the calendar checks, the heart mutters. By Friday, Lord, you time God, and then you call it faith. He that believeth shall not make haste. Haste is the smoke of fear. If you find yourself timing grace, know you are back in the counting house of effect. A fourth, spiritual pride in my practice. You may keep a quiet log for remembrance. You may not keep trophies. When you catch a subtle glow as you tally your sittings, say gently to yourself, I can of my own self do nothing, and close the trophy case. The window does not compliment itself for the sunrise. Hidden effort often wears holiness like a mask. You will hear yourself using a beautiful phrase, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things, not as a vow, but as a charm. You will know it is a charm when you mouth it to get the check in the mail. Anything used to get is effort. Or you will find the mind visualizing supply, counting bills, shaping outcomes, then baptizing the picture with the name God. That is simply trying to pour God power into an effect. How can you get God power into an effect? You cannot. Only God is cause. Anything thought, spoken, imagined is an effect. Sometimes you will spot the little metronome inside, click, 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 keeping time on God. I sat, I was quiet. Where is the feeling? Where is the sign? Be not ye like unto them who seek a sign. Presence is not a circus. Blessed are they that have not seen and yet have believed. Believe what? That God is God without your thermometer. What do you do when you catch these? Do not scold. Do not argue. Correct in place. Stop mid-syllable if you must. Let the body take one honest breath, as if setting a heavy parcel down, and inwardly yield. Nevertheless, Father, not my will, thy will be done in me. Let that one sentence break the spell of effort. Then be still. If another phrase is needed to steady, let it be spare and royal. Speak, Lord. Thy servant heareth, and then return to the hush. Do not finish the bargain. Do not finish the picture. Do not finish the brave petition you had half built. Drop the tools where they are and step back from the altar you are constructing to yourself. Suppose guilt leaps up now, as it often does, saying, you see, you are not spiritual. You are pushing again. This is why nothing happens. Guilt is another form of control. It offers you a whip to drive yourself with. Refuse it. Clear it at once, not by debate, but by a brief liturgy of mercy. Inwardly, very simply, Father, I forgive. I forgive them all, the loud and the quiet wounds. I forgive the faces that rise, and I release the debts. And Father, I forgive myself for ignorance, for fear, for making effects into gods. Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. If any corner of the mind still stings, I hold it in thy light and wait. Then be still again. There is therefore now no condemnation to them which are in Christ Jesus. Condemnation belongs to the realm of effects. We have re-entered cause. You will find this moment of correction can take 3 breaths, not 3 hours. The art is swiftness without violence. Catch effort early. Release it with surrender. Return to emptiness. This is not failure. This is faithfulness. A righteous one may fall 7 times and rise again into receptivity as naturally as you rise from a chair. Do not make a drama of it. Drama is also effort. Train yourself to hear the tells. Bargain? Stop. Polished oath? Stop. Hurry in the chest? Stop. Spiritual pride preening? Stop. Visualizing with a clenched jaw? Stop. Timing God with sideward glances? Stop. Then empty. I of mine own self can do nothing. Be thou in me what thou art. Then watch, not for a sign, but for the absence of push. The easy yoke. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. If it grows heavy again, you know who picked it up. Do not be afraid to break off mid-prayer when you smell effort. It is better to end a sentence in silence than to finish a majestic appeal fueled by self-will. God is not offended by your unfinished eloquence. God is honored by your surrender. Think of a sailor who feels the wind shift. He does not complete his speech about the wind. He trims the sail. Nevertheless, not my will. That is trimming the sail. And then you feel the wind do the work it was made to do. Remember, this discernment is not suspicion. It is love protecting holiness. You are not a detective. You are a doorkeeper. Watch, therefore, not to gather evidence against yourself, but to keep the gate clear for the King of Glory to come in. Your part is small and sacred. Stop. Empty. Watch. Catch effort early. Release it with surrender. And re-enter emptiness. Do this once, and then again, and then 70 times 7 in the small moments of a day. Grace is patient. Grace is present. And when you consent to be empty, the Father within does the works. He does. He is. Now let us bring witness, not from my opinion, but from the Master's own lips, and then from what has happened right in our midst. When you and I stop pushing, hear him. I can of my own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. He did not say, it is hard for me. He said, I can do nothing. Absolute, final. Did you ever stop to think of that? If the one who could still storms and raise the dead would not claim personal causation, by what authority do we claim it in the little matters of rent and reputation? When the Master says, the Father within me, he doeth the works, he is not being modest, he is revealing law. The same law we are learning to trust. When we cease, the Father within does the works. And this law is consistent with everything else he taught about prayer. When ye pray, use not vain repetition, as the heathen do. Why? Because repetition used as leverage invests power in effects, in words, in cadences, in our best Boy Scout oath. There is no power there. Anything that is written or spoken is an effect. Power is not in the syllables, power is in God. So he says, enter thy closet, close the door, close the knowledge of good and evil, be still, and let the Spirit utter its own word. Prayer is not man's word. It is God's word. When you understand that, You will stop trying to pry open heaven with phrases, and you will begin to offer God the only gift he asks of you: room, an empty vessel, silence that listens. And what is the fruit promised for such prayer? Not applause, not the shiny trinkets of the marketplace. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth, give I unto you. Not the peace that depends on the stock report, not the peace that needs everyone to behave. His peace, the unmanufactured hush that remains when the storm forgets your name. Let that be your sign, your sacrament. Not a thrill in the spine, but the cessation of push, the easy yoke. Peace is the fingerprint of God's activity. If it is peace, it is God. If it is hurry, it is you. He that believeth shall not make haste. Believe what? That the Father within is cause, and therefore you can lay down the stopwatch without dereliction of duty, to show you that this is not only religious talk, but the very way of creation. Look at the artist, the composer, the poet. The composer sits before a blank staff. He does not hammer keys to bully forth a theme. He grows quiet and receptive, and the theme announces itself exactly when he ceases to announce himself. The sculptor stands before a block. He does not lecture the stone with blueprints. He waits. He listens. The marble speaks. The great painter does not produce the sky by effort. He receives a light and cooperates with it. How can you get God power into an effect? You cannot. But you can become like the violinist who stops thinking about fingers and consents to be an instrument. Then the music finds him. Then the Father within does the works. Now for a caution. Years ago, I received a letter, good handwriting, fine intentions. Mr. Goldsmith, if you will please pray that I receive $75 a week, a little house in such and such a neighborhood, and a car to get to work. I will be faithful to your teaching. Do you see the outline? Do you see the insult to grace? Please do not pray for horses or gasoline, houses or automobiles. That is not prayer. That is shopping with a halo on. If I were to take that letter into silence, what would I bring? Not the outline, not the price tag. I would bring an empty vessel. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. And then I would be quiet, because only God is. Cause it is a dangerous business to ask God to conform to our sketches. Even if we had the letter answered to the penny, we would have achieved nothing but better matter, and better matter cannot give you, not as the world giveth. Seek ye first the kingdom, the awareness of God, and all these things take their right place without your blueprints, and sometimes in forms your letter would never have permitted. You want proof, not argument, proof. In this very room, there was a woman pressed into a lawsuit. She came armed with facts, timelines, and the kind of fear that keeps a pencil busy. We did not plot. We did not compose speeches. We sat. We made the ancient consent. Nevertheless, Father, not my will, thy will be done in me. She went home with no plan but peace. The next week, the opposing counsel discovered an error that dissolved the case. Who did that? Not her brilliant retort, not my correspondence. The Father within did the works as soon as we stopped trying to do them. A young man here, an actor, ached for a role. He made faith into a lever and tried to lift a casting director with it. We talked. He stopped. He emptied. He said within himself, I can of my own self do nothing. Be thou in me what thou art. Peace came first. The gnawing subsided. He lost the role he wanted. The world would call that loss. Weeks later, he received another call. No audition, no scramble, a part he did not know existed, and with it a schedule that allowed him to care for his father to the end. He wept with gratitude, not because the part was bigger, but because the will of God was kinder and more exact than his wish list. My peace, not as the world giveth. I will tell you one more. A man with rent due Friday. You know that ache. He practiced stop empty watch with the simplicity of a child. On Thursday, nothing on the ledger moved, but something in the heart did the weight shifted off the chest. He visited a neighbor without an agenda. In that conversation, an opportunity appeared, not as a rescue, as a natural next step that had been blocked by his own hurry. Work opened, the rent was met. But listen to him tell it, and you will hear the real miracle. The fear left before the funds arrive. That is the sign. That is the sacrament. Peace first, effects after, and sometimes altogether different from what you drew. Now let us be very clear. I do not have power to bestow employment, houses, cars. I am scared pink of any class that would ask me for such. I can of my own self do nothing. I cannot even teach. The Father within me must do the teaching, or we will go out of here with notebooks full of effects and no cause. But you can verify the law in your practice. Scripture and experience agree, and they are saying one thing: stop impersonating cause. Come as an empty vessel. Let God be God. So when you enter your closet, remember the witness. Hear the Master say it to you personally. I can of my own self do nothing. And hear the promise that answers your consent. My peace I give unto you, not as the world gives it, conditional, fragile, but as God gives, self-complete, unthreatened by outcomes. Trust that peace as the signature, and let it be enough. Do not return with your yardstick. Do not outline. Do not bargain. Sit down like the composer before the unmarked staff, and wait until the theme chooses you. Then rise and let the Father within do the works as you move through the day. It is law, and you can live it. When you cease, God commences. And when God commences, there is nothing left for you to add but gratitude that you were there to behold it. Now hear the promise again. Not for embroidery, but for orientation. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. The world gives on terms. It lends, it expects returns, it measures by more and faster and bigger. Spirit gives itself, and with it a peace that does not depend on any clock, any calendar, any human verdict. If you come to this work for better matter, I love you enough to disappoint you quickly. Our treasure is not trinkets. Our treasure is God awareness, righteousness, peace, and joy in the Holy Ghost. That is the kingdom, the only kingdom worth entering. Seek ye first that, and let other things arrange themselves without your blueprints. Do not make a museum of effects and call it a life. This receding of outcomes is not piety, it is sanity. If only God is cause, then nothing you can count is cause. Therefore, nothing you can count can be your criterion. Measure by peace. When the hush comes that says, be still and know that I am God, that is success. When love replaces tightness in the chest, that is success. When kindness rises in you toward the difficult one and you feel no loss in it, that is success. Perfect love casteth out fear. Let that be your audit. If fear is cast out and peace remains, do not call the day empty because no new contract printed your name. Call it full because God revealed himself. Now learn to receive fruit as fruit, not as proof of your method. Guidance will come. Correction will come. Supply will come. They will come as grace, and grace comes sovereignly. Sometimes the guidance is no. Sometimes it is wait. Sometimes it is turn back and be reconciled to thy brother before you lay another gift on the altar. Do not argue. Whatsoever he saith unto you, do it. The wisdom that says no today is the same love that will say yes in its own hour. If you measure by peace, you will recognize the love in the no as surely as in the yes. The world panics at no. The sun bows and is safe. Supply will come. Please do not lower that word to currency. Supply is whatever reveals God's sufficiency in the moment. A word withheld, a door closed, a hand extended, a task given, a rest commanded, a sum provided. Give us this day our daily bread. Do not ask for a silo. When Israel tried to hoard manna, it bred worms. Why? Because the lesson was presence, not storage. Gratitude without grasping is the way we keep manna fresh. Say, thank you, Father, and then be as empty as you were before it came. Do not put today's bread in the trophy case and call it security. Security is God. Keep your vessels clean for the next breath. You ask, how shall I know I am not clinging? You will know by the absence of dread. If you can say thank you and feel no effort to clutch with the other hand, you are free. If you can watch yesterday's sweetness pass without bitterness and remain poised for today's will, you are free. If you can let a human approval drift away without campaigning for its return, you are free. Set your affection on things above, not on things on the earth. Above does not mean elsewhere. It means in cause. Set your affection in, cause and effects will come and go like weather while you abide in climate. Do not be surprised if peace resets your idea of success. You may have thought increase meant addition. Often grace blesses by subtraction. A meeting evaporates, a plan decays. A relationship simplifies to honesty and therefore seems smaller in the market, larger in the soul. The world calls some of these losses. Heaven calls them pruning. Every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. More fruit does not always mean more stuff. It means more God seen, more love known, more fear undone. Let me be very plain. Do not write me letters with the arithmetic of your demonstrations as if you were sending a financial statement to God. Send me, if you must, a single sentence. The fear left, that is report enough. When fear leaves, the Father is near. When peace comes, he is not on the way, he is here. And where he is, the rest arranges itself by law without your decrees. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. Note the order. He maketh me lie down peace. Then he leadeth guidance. Then surely goodness and mercy follow supply. We have reversed it and chased goodness with a net. Let goodness follow you for once. Let mercy do the pursuing. Practice gratitude as a breath, not as an anchor. Thank you, Father, for the light of this moment. And then let the moment go. Thank you for the supply that met the need, and now I remain as empty as the cup in the hand of a servant. Thank you for the correction that saved me from my own outline, and I remain willing. Thank you for the silence that said, not now, and here I am, candle trimmed, listening. Gratitude is not a claim slip. It is praise that protects emptiness. Emptiness remains the opening. God remains the filler. So reset your expectation here and be glad of it. The trustworthy outcome of prayer is peace. His peace not as the world giveth. Seek that, count that, stand in that. And when other fruit appears, guidance, correction, supply, receive it respectfully, use it rightly, and let it pass through you without lodging fear or pride in its wake. We are not sources. We are channels. Channels do not sparkle by holding the water. They shine because the water is moving. Keep it moving. Keep empty. And the Father within will continue to do the works. And you will continue to know him by the peace that passes all understanding and keeps your heart and mind, not your bonds, through Christed awareness. Now we must let practice ripen into life. A moment of peace is holy. A life that abides in peace is holiness embodied. Hear the Master's word that carries us from episode to residence. Abide in me, and I in you, for without me ye can do nothing. Do you notice how it removes all heroics? Abiding is not a stunt, it is a staying. It is not a thrill, it is a home. Pray without ceasing, the apostle said, not meaning to multiply sentences, but to remain receptive without break. Ceaseless prayer is not many words. It is no barrier. It is the ending of personal push as a way of being. It is a branch that stops pretending to be a tree. How do we grow into that? With a small, steady rule that the ego will despise because it cannot exploit it. In the morning, before the foot meets the floor, give God room. 30 seconds will do when 30 seconds is all you have. Sit, stand, lie still. Your body is not the gate. Your consent is, and let your inner word be spare and royal. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Or, thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Then stop. No please, no pictures. Be empty. Let that be the first climate of the day. In the evening, before the pillow remembers your name, return the same way. Release the day's successes and failures alike. Nevertheless, Father, not my will, thy will be done in me. Then be quiet for even so little as half a minute, whenever possible, twice in a day. If life offers you more, take it. If it steals at times, do not fret. 30 seconds counts when 30 seconds is honest emptiness. This is not a schedule for merit. It is a trellis for a living vine. These brief returns begin as events. With fidelity, they become a disposition. You will notice a carryover. The hush you taste in the closet does not slam the door behind you when you rise. It follows you into the kitchen, the office, the streetcar. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. Stayed does not mean strained. Stayed means inclined, turned toward, like a face that has learned where the light enters. At first, you must stop to empty. Later, you discover that emptiness has become the background of your walking and your speaking, and you stop not to become empty, but to notice that you already are. The intervals between push grow longer. The felt need to prod God grows weaker. You are becoming what you practice, an empty vessel that God fills as he pleases, when he pleases, and you are content because you have learned contentment is God. Identity clarifies as practice deepens. In petition, you are a beggar. In receptivity, you are a son. As many as are led by the Spirit of God, they are the sons of God. And if sons, then heirs, heirs of God and joint heirs with Christ. Here, not as poetry, but as personal address. Son, all that I have is thine. You do not make this true by repeating it like a charm. You recognize it in the atmosphere of surrender. In that recognition, I can of my own self do nothing, ceases to be humiliation and becomes freedom. You are not the source, you are the channel. And a channel that knows it is a channel is safe for the river's weight. From this identity, life grows transparent. Decisions are no longer tournaments held in the head. They flow as simple obediences heard in quiet. You sit before a crowded day and do not construct towers. You stop, empty, watch. One task warms in the heart, begin there. Another cools, let it wait. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. He shall, if you will let him be, cause. Service arranges itself the same way. You walk into a room and do not calculate usefulness. You enter listening. A face draws you. A word rises that is not rehearsed. A silence proves more loving than advice. You obey the inward nudge and leave with no residue of pride or remorse because you did not perform, you permitted. Creativity flows the same way. The painter no longer squeezes brilliance from tubes. He awakens, empties, and then there it is, the theme that arrives when there is room. The writer discovers a sentence waiting like manna. Take what is given for this day and stop when heaven stops. Do not hoard. When you do not hoard, you do not fear running out. Please do not confuse abiding with a constant ecstasy. My peace is not fireworks, it is climate. Sometimes you will feel nothing at all but the absence of clutch and the ease of being led at walking pace. That is prayer without ceasing. Be still and know that I am God becomes the unforced center of your motion. You will cook soup as prayer. You will sign contracts as prayer. You will listen to a child as prayer. Not because you mutter sanctities under your breath, but because your breath belongs to God and you have stopped trying to own it. Now a needed caution for maturity. Do not keep score on this. Do not start counting how many hours of abiding you have achieved, as if we were selling God insurance by the premium. If you miss your morning, do not make a drama of it. Catch yourself, as we have learned. Stop empty watch. 3 breaths suffice to return. If guilt comes, you know what to do. Clear it with mercy and re-enter cause. This is how moments become a manna. The righteous falls 7 times and rises again, not into struggle, but into consent. Our way is swiftness without violence. Understand also that as abiding deepens, the outer pattern of your days may simplify. You may find there is less noise in the diary, more fruit in the work you actually do. Pruning is not loss, it is love. Every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit, and do not interpret more fruit carnally. More fruit may look like fewer projects and more presence, fewer speeches and more authority in a single sentence, fewer acquaintances and deeper affection for the ones God places before you. You will notice this. Fatigue begins to come from disobedience, not labor. When you move in the river, effort lightens. My yoke is easy, and my burden is light. If it grows heavy, you picked it up. What then shall be our vow? Keep the little rule. Morning emptiness, evening emptiness, whenever possible, twice in a day. Use the pauses life gives at a red light, in an elevator, between phone calls, to practice the brevity of true prayer. I of mine own self can do nothing. Be thou in me what thou art. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Then silence. Let these moments do their quiet work until they weave into a seamless cloth. Over weeks, then months, then years, you will wake to discover that you no longer visit God. You live and move and have your being in God, knowingly. The closet is everywhere, and doors no longer lock. And as you abide, expect the ancient assurance to sound, not only in books, but in your bones. Son, all that I have is thine, not as a license, but as a lineage, not as a purse, but as a presence. Then you will understand why we could say with a straight face, don't pray for horses or gasoline, houses or automobiles. You will not need to. When you are at home in cause, effects take their right place without your tug. You will be content to be a window cleaned by quiet and made transparent by surrender, through which the Father within does his own works. And you will discover that abiding is not an achievement. It is a consent renewed so often that it becomes nature. Pray without ceasing, by ceasing to be the one who prays. Abide, and let him be the life in your branch, the word in your mouth, the love in your touch, the wisdom in your choices. Then, wherever you are, the kingdom is at hand, and peace, his peace, guards your heart and mind through the Christ awareness that has ceased striving and simply remains. Now we seal it, not with excitement, but with consecration, not with more to do, but with less to carry. Abide in me, for without me ye can do nothing. We have tasted this. Now we make it our vow. A vow is not strain. A vow is a boundary that protects love. Let this love be guarded by plain renunciations and a simple liturgy that keeps the door open and the room empty for God. I ask you to consecrate yourself to 3 no's that are actually a great yes. No outlining, no petitioning for things. no power granted to effects, no power in words, thoughts, or holy techniques. Say it within, I will not bring a plan to God. I will not request a package from God. I will not attempt to inject God power into an effect. There is no power but the one. Anything written, spoken, or thought is an effect. How can you get God into an effect? You cannot. You can only stop impersonating cause and be still until cause reveals itself. Be still and know that I am God. Not be busy and inform. Be still and know. Now the yes. Adopt the liturgy of emptiness, not as a superstition, as a signal to the soul. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Nevertheless, Father, not my will. Thy will be done in me. These are not passwords. These are doorstops holding open the threshold of receptivity. Use them and then keep silence. Let them empty you, not fill God in. When ye pray, enter thy closet. Enter, speak the little consent, and then wait until the Father that seeth in secret gives the increase. Prayer is not man's word, it is God's word. If the words grow many, stop sooner. If the silence grows deep, remain. 30 seconds of honest emptiness accomplishes more than 30 minutes of bargaining. Remember who you are for and what we are. You are of those few who can achieve it. I do not flatter you. I recognize grace at work. You have already endured the offense of hearing, don't pray for horses or gasoline, houses or automobiles, and you stayed. You endured, abandon hope, all ye that enter an infinite way, class, and you stayed. That faithfulness is your credential. We do not walk this way alone. We walk it together so that when one forgets and begins to push, another remembers and becomes a living reminder of peace. Where 2 or 3 are gathered together in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Do you hear in the midst? Not in our plans, in our midst. Keep to the midst. Keep to peace. Now, for your posture as ministers, for you will be asked. You cannot hide this light. It will draw need. When one comes and says, pray for me to get this position, do not take the outline. Do not say yes to the package. Say with humility and certainty, I will go to God in prayer. And then do it. Go in as an empty vessel on their behalf. Do not carry their blueprints in to burden the room. Carry their name as a trust and lay it down as fast as you can. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Thy grace is my sufficiency, and this dear one's in all things. Not my will, not theirs. Thy will be done in us. And then be silent until peace comes. When peace comes, the work is begun. Rise and refuse to meddle. The Father within will do the works when you and they cease performing them. Counsel from that peace, or keep holy silence from that peace. Either way, let the source remain source, and be gentle with the world's expectations. It will ask for proof in coins, positions, prompt outcomes. Reset the measure by law, peace first, guidance next. Effects last, if at all, and never as our boast. He maketh me to lie down. He leadeth me. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me. Lie down peace, be led guidance, then goodness follows effects. Keep the order and you will remain safe. Reverse it and you will feel again the old ache of push. When you catch push, do not scold yourself. Stop empty watch. In the kitchen, in the office, at the bedside. Cause goes before you when you cease competing with it. Let me be transparent with you so you may be safe with me. I am scared pink of the class. I mean that. I am terrified of standing here as if I had power to heal, prosper, or arrange your days. I can of my own self do nothing, and because I am scared pink of pretending otherwise, we are safe. Only the Father within can teach. Only the Father within can heal. Only the Father within can orchestrate the effects that follow peace. As long as we remain empty together, there is no danger of personality invading cause. We will not sell you better matter. We will keep pointing to my peace, not as the world giveth. That is our safety. That is our sanity. So now I commission you not to perform, but to permit. Go out as empty vessels. At the desk before the call, stop empty watch. In conversation, stop empty watch and let love rise as silence or word. In conflict, stop empty watch and let forgiveness stand in for victory. Freely ye have received, freely give. Give what you have received, peace, willingness, room. Do not give techniques, give room. Be windows. Keep them clean by surrender and let the light do its own traveling. Expect God to act quietly, lawfully, sufficiently. Expect the unexpected form and the utterly familiar signature, the end of push, the ease of rightness, the love that casts out fear. When it appears, say, "Thank you, Father," and remain as empty as before. Now lift your heart without flourish and make the vow with me. Father, I surrender outlining, petitioning, and the investing of power in any effect. I will make of my prayer an emptiness of myself. Speak, Lord, thy servant heareth. Thy grace is my sufficiency in all things. Nevertheless, not my will, thy will be done in me. Keep me at peace, and let thy works be done. Amen. And having vowed, rest. Lo, I am with you always. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. Walk softly now into your ordinary hours with an extraordinary consent. Abide. Let the Father within do the works. And when you discover, even in the smallest matter, that peace preceded you and performance followed you without strain, tell no one what you did. Tell the truth of it. I ceased, and God commenced. That is our witness. That is our commission. Go in his peace.